Imagine shouting into a canyon and hearing nothing but the wind. That's not how the world is supposed to work. Sound bounces back. It's a law of physics. But in the architecture of a human childhood, there is a version of this silence that leaves a mark you can't see. When a child reaches out, not always with words, sometimes just a look, a small hand extended, a silent question hanging in the air, they are waiting for a return signal, a nod, a smile, a flicker of recognition that says, "I see you, you are here, you matter." But what happens when that signal never comes? When the canyon is just empty? The child doesn't blame the canyon. They aren't capable of that kind of abstract thought. The conclusion a young mind draws is far more personal and far more devastating. My voice must not have been worth hearing. And right there, in that quiet moment of deduction, something begins to form. Not a scar from a single event, but a slow, persistent erosion. For decades, the field of psychology has, understandably, focused on the traumas that leave a crater, the car accident, the violent loss, the event with a clear before and after. And for millions of people, that framework is essential. But what about the suffering that doesn't have a date stamp? The pain that isn't linked to a single photograph in a case file? The house is still standing. The refrigerator hums. The parents are physically present. No one is going to write a memoir about the school play no one attended, or the science project that sat on the kitchen table, untouched and unremarked upon, or the tears cried into a pillow, muffled by a closed door that stayed closed. You can't point to a birthday party that wasn't thrown. You can't show someone the warmth that wasn't there. It feels, to the person who lived it, like making a fuss over nothing. But the absence of heat can be just as damaging as the fire itself. Think about how a child learns to understand their own internal world. It's a process of reflection. A caregiver functions as an emotional mirror. When they see a child scrunch up their face and say, "You seem really frustrated right now. Is that it?" They are doing more than just naming a feeling. They are teaching the child that these internal storms have names, that they are real, and that they are worthy of attention. They are handing the child a vocabulary for their own soul. But when that mirror is cloudy, or when it simply reflects nothing back, the child doesn't learn the language of the self. They grow up, and they walk into adulthood with a strange, pervasive handicap. They feel things, intensely, often, but the words to describe them get stuck somewhere between the gut and the mouth. There's a clinical term for this, alexithymia. It's the difficulty in identifying and describing your own emotions, and research consistently links it to those early years of emotional silence. It's not a textbook depression, it's not clinical anxiety, it's a kind of flatness, a life lived behind a pane of soundproof glass. And then there is the landscape of love. This is where the absence becomes most painful to witness. The person who grew up feeling unseen doesn't just struggle to connect, they often instinctively dismantle connection the moment it starts to feel real. Someone offers a genuine, heartfelt compliment. It's deflected with a joke or brushed off. A partner offers consistent, unconditional affection. It doesn't feel safe. It feels suffocating. It feels like a trap because you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop. And that reaction makes perfect biological sense. If love in your first environment was unpredictable, here one moment, gone the next, you would have stopped counting on it too. You would have built a life that didn't require it. You became the one who needs no one, the one who has everything handled. From the outside, that looks like strength, but it's really just a very old, very smart survival suit. The longing for closeness wasn't erased, it was just buried so deep under so much protective rubble that you stopped feeling it. Needs don't just disappear, they just learn to stop making noise, because noise never worked. A comprehensive 2024 review published in the journal Child Abuse and Neglect found 25 separate studies and found a clear, consistent link. Adults who experienced childhood neglect show significant struggles with emotional regulation, and the researchers themselves noted a crucial irony. Emotional neglect remains one of the least studied forms of childhood adversity. Think about what that says. The wound that is hardest to see is the one we've spent the least amount of time trying to understand. The quietest pain is the easiest to ignore, even for science. Neuroplasticity is real. The brain can rewire itself even after a difficult start. Therapy designed for this specific kind of invisible wound is incredibly effective. I'm not saying this to give you a tidy 5-minute happy ending. Healing from this is slow, and it involves grieving something profoundly strange, the absence of things that should have been there. How do you mourn a ghost? How do you process a feeling with no memory attached? The answer is slowly, persistently, and usually with help. That stuff doesn't change overnight, but every time you honestly check in with yourself, something microscopic shifts. The neural pathway gets a little clearer, the voice gets a little louder. For someone who grew up feeling unheard, learning to finally hear yourself, that is the whole point. There's a specific kind of person who finds themselves watching something like this at 11:30 at night. Maybe they were scrolling and the phrase emotional neglect made their thumb stop. Something in it felt uncomfortably familiar. If that is you right now, I want you to pay attention to that feeling. It's not that a label fixes anything, it's not magic, but that flicker of recognition is actually your system doing something it may have never learned to do properly. It's echoing something back to itself. Quietly, perhaps, but unmistakably. Your voice was always worth the echo. It just needed a different room. If this resonated with you, it would mean a lot if you hit that like button and subscribed to Stickman Says. I'll see you in the next one.